I hope this book is as much fun for the reader as it was for me. This is like a kind of intellectual travelogue. The reader gets to go all over the world, to Zanzibar and Sri Lanka and Japan. And instead of looking for sights, we're looking for ideas. We're trying to figure out this really fascinating puzzle about how culture affects the mind and how culture affects mental illness in particular, and how those ideas and cultural notions are changing in this era of globalization. Maybe the most compelling example is what happened after the tsunami in Sri Lanka. We rushed in from the West with thousands of trauma counselors looking for post-traumatic stress disorder, with notions of how to heal it, what it meant, what it was going to look like, without any understanding of the idea that Sri Lankan culture might have a different understanding about what happens after such a horrible event, how the mind gets affected. And it turns out Sri Lankans do have a different understanding than Americans about where the breakage is after such a horrible happening. Sri Lankans are much more likely to see their world affected in their social setting, in their roles, and in their social networks, whereas Americans will perceive the breakage being in their own mind. And that's a critical distinction when it comes to notions of how to heal from such an event. What's happening is that as we export our ideas about mental illness around the world, we don't understand that those ideas actually affect the expression of those mental illnesses. So we are homogenizing the way the world goes mad. This is an untold story of globalization. The danger is that it's happening so quickly. Our notions of depression are going to Japan, our notions of PTSD into Sri Lanka, and within a generation these ideas are changing, and we're disconnecting cultures from their traditional ways of healing and their traditional ways of understanding the mind, and it's happening so quickly it's hard to imagine it stopping. I've asked the question to many researchers about what can be done and whether these trends can be stopped, and almost to a person they're a little pessimistic about this. These are huge cultural forces that are spreading our notions of these diseases to other cultures. These ideas of depression and post-traumatic stress disorder tend to be very popular. They're spreading, with the cultural currency of American music and American pop culture. It would be terrible if we erase these differences, if we flatten the psyche, the human psyche around the world, without first understanding the lessons that we can learn from them. So I think the first thing we have to do is appreciate that there are differences, and appreciate that we can have an effect on those differences when we travel to these other countries. If we don't have that appreciation, we won't second guess ourselves when we rush into another culture and try to teach them what we know about the human mind.